Ideal writing days make a beautiful fantasy and a pressure cooker reality. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Tara East. I'm a writer, blogger, YouTuber, and the author of the mystery novel Every Time He Dies. And in this week's video, I want to talk about the idea or the myth of the ideal writing day. Imagine your ideal writing day. You can probably do this within a snap because you've actually imagined it so often, wished for it wistfully, and occasionally even experienced it. We long to write under the perfect conditions because we so seldomly experience them. We dream about days that are appointment-free, when the house is empty, the dog has walked, or uncharacteristically uninterested in going for a walk, and there's a stack of leftovers in the fridge so we don't have to cook anything. Maybe the fire is going, your favorite scented candle is lit, and the sun is falling through the window onto your desk just perfectly. You have 8 undistracted, uninterrupted hours in front of you. A day that is totally dedicated to writing. And that's when the fun begins, because when there's no distraction between you and the work, there is only you and the work present. As the Buddhist writer Jon Kabat-Zinn said, wherever you go, there you are. Soon you're up from your desk, you're doing laundry, you're shaking out dog beds, you're organizing receipts, vacuuming the car and weeding the front garden. Lunchtime rolls around, and then you start beating yourself up for allowing all of that to happen and for wasting such a perfect day. Ideal writing days often can be our worst writing days because when we fail to perform, we have no one to blame but ourselves. No one was around to interrupt us. We didn't have any errands to run or appointments to make. Hell, we didn't even have to cook a meal. Ideal writing days make a beautiful fantasy and a pressure cooker reality. We believe that because the conditions are perfect, the words should melt from our fingers like rare honey. That the boundaries between us and the work should blur as we enter a state of deep focus where we forget who we even are, the author. We forget that we exist, and instead, writing becomes a form of passive dictation rather than active creation. That, dear friend, is a lot of pressure to put on a single day. On an ordinary day, we have the luxury of blaming our family, friends, colleagues, maintenance workers, or the administration of life for interrupting our writing. On ideal days, there is no one to blame but ourselves. As I speak about often on this channel, you only have so many good hours in a day, and it takes a lot of energy to write. For this reason, some of our most productive writing days are days where we are writing in between everything else, in between life. You write in between classes, between picking up an extra waitressing shift, or popping in and out of the house as you complete errands. So why is writing better on these days? It could be because your writing time is clear and definite. You only have 15 minutes to write before that appointment, or an hour here or there if you're lucky. Because your writing time is so limited, you can't stuff around. You've just got to get down to business. On those days, you don't have the luxury of mucking around. You have to make use of the time that is available to you. There is no space to settle down into the work by making your environment pleasing, by lighting a scented candle, by getting that mug of tea, or lighting the fireplace. Now, all of those things are beautiful and fantastic, and of course I do them too, but they are enhancements. You don't need any of that frou-frou in order to write. The belief that you will be uber productive whenever life presents you with ideal writing conditions can be a little bit dangerous. Conversely, it can also be dangerous to believe that we can't write because we're experiencing unideal conditions. Sometimes you can't write because you feel under the weather, you're distracted by a personal or work-related event, or maybe your day is just too full of other commitments. But sometimes we use imperfect conditions as excuses not to do the work. We can't write because the kids are at home, your partner is home, you're tired, it's the weekend, it's a weekday, it's rainy, it's sunny, you don't have enough time, the dog needs a walk. There's 100 emails in your inbox, you're out of milk. The wrong party won the latest election, and so on. The truth is, ideal writing days can be hard, and non-ideal writing days can be hard. Both can also be great. It just depends on you, the day, where you're at in the work, how the axis of the earth is aligning that day. Whatever the conditions are, we need to identify what we most need in that moment, whether it be kindness or firmness. Maybe a bit of both. Writing is a strange practice. In some ways, our lives are kind of out of sync with everybody around us. Our daily efforts go without pay, there's no sick leave or annual holidays, and there's actually very little difference between weekdays and weekends. A crossword with a loved one or a mean comment online can totally derail our day. A vivid dream or a realization while out walking can fuel you for a week. Writing, regardless of the conditions, whether we're feeling inspired or not, is work. Some days the work feels easier, some days it feels harder. The only thing that matters, though, is that we continue to show up for ourselves and the story we've committed to. I know of no other way to live the writer's life. Now I'd love to hear from you. What do you think about the myth of the ideal writing day? Do you find that you use imperfect conditions as an excuse not to write? Do you also find that sometimes perfect days actually derail you? I'd love to know, so please leave a comment below. Now, if you'd like even more writing advice, you can of course check out the other videos on this channel or head to taraeast.com and dive into the archives. While you're there, be sure to join my email newsletter, link below, because when you do, I'll send you a free gift. Yay! You'll also receive a newsletter straight to your inbox every Thursday morning, Australian time, containing links to that week's blog and video, a sweet little letter by me, some interesting resources I've discovered that week, an inspiring quote, and some other little goodies that I only share via email. Thank you so much for showing up again this week and for watching these videos. I really appreciate it. Stay safe, stay calm, and keep writing because the world actually does need more books. See you next week.